It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo Parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science Potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you, and welcome to the Science Bowl, the science quiz program here in the Prince George's Schools, where we test science literacy, and we hope you play along and test your own science IQ against these wonderful superstars. This is the last of our 3 round-robin semifinal matches to determine who will be vying for the county championship for the middle schools. We combine the scores from the 2 appearances, and this is the last appearance for Greenbelt and Martin Luther King. We start our teams out, as we always do, with 50 points just for showing up and looking as good as they do. And as I say, we will tally the number of points this time with the ones next time to determine those 2 finalists. And there are no penalties for incorrect answers on this game. We don't have buzzers. We're not in the studio because of the pandemic. Our kids are all at home safe. I'm here next to the signature board here at Science Bowl. One of the things we have not changed is the categories of questions that we use. And these are they.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo Parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's Science Potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
All right, it's time to get started. Let's meet that team from Greenbelt. First, our captain, Evan. Evan, give everybody a nice wave. Thank you, young man. Next, we have Donna down there looking very studious. She's a great student. And Alexis also has been watching Science Bowl for much of her life, and here she is on the show. We're so happy to have her. All right, Greenbelt, have a great game. Let's get started with your green things questions. Green things for 5 points. This one's going to make you hungry. While chocolate grows on trees, this other ingredient found in every chocolate chip cookie recipe comes from an orchid flower that grows in Madagascar.
So
we know that it's not chocolate. Probably not flour. Sugar comes from a sugar cane, so it's not that. Maybe
vanilla
bean.
Vanilla bean.
I have no idea what it is, so let's just guess vanilla bean.
Thank you, Alexis. It is indeed vanilla. An orchid produces vanilla and the vanilla bean. Got yourself 5 points. That's the way to play the game. Next, we have a visual for you for green things for 15 points. The beautiful colors displayed by deciduous trees in the fall, boy, just magnificent. Produced as their chlorophyll dyes is known by an alliterative term where both words begin with the same letter. This is known as fall what?
Well, can we think of any words that would start with an F that would mean leaves turning a different color? Fall fading, maybe?
Yeah.
Fall.
Good try there, guys. It is fall foliage. Foliage. F-O-L-I-A-G-E. Fall foliage. Let's go to green things for 25 points. The poinsettia, that familiar red Christmas flower, confuses people. The flower itself is insignificant, tiny little yellow things in the very center. The red petals are actually these flower parts that ring the petals and are actually green.
What is the part that covers the flower before it flowers? Is it the buds?
Aren't the buds? Yeah, the bud would cover it, and the bud is usually green.
No, but that's not the bud, like the one that covers the bud. It's
Oh,
called a bud, but
I don't think anything does cover the butt. I think it's just the bud, and then the bud opens up, and then it's like the beautiful flower or whatever.
I forgot the word.
Correct answer there. It sounds like petals. It is called sepals, sepals. Those are the green. It's like a ring around the bottom of the flower there. All right, let's move on to the zoo. You know, when something becomes intolerable, you can't take it anymore. You could say that that is the straw that broke this desert animal's back.
Straw that broke a desert animal's back.
What desert animal's back?
Okay, can we think of any desert animals?
camel? Camel?
What do you say?
Camel, because it has those humps.
That's good, Donna. That's exactly right. The camel is the ship of the desert. You know, they load it up with a lot of things and they take it across the desert, and it can keep taking more and more, but finally, that last stick, one is too much. It could break the camel's back. It's a saying. So camel was the right answer. You got yourself 5 points, thanks to Donna. For 15 points, the larvae of the killer hornets that are invading this country, you might have seen them. They're big and they're nasty looking. They can wipe out a whole honeybee hive in minutes. They cut the heads off of the honeybees. The larvae of those killer hornets have what same G initial name that applies to other larval types like those of beetles.
Grubs, probably.
Grubs, that's it. Good answer, Evan. It is grubs. Here's a multiple choice for 25 points. The temperature of hummingbirds living at high altitudes can drop so low at night that the bird is as cold as a rock and appears dead. It warms up slowly the next morning and flies off. That deep, cold state, a kind of hibernation, is known as torpor, T-O-R-P-O-R, tropism, T-R-O-P-I-S-M, or trepidation. This hibernation-like state that hummingbirds go through at night is known as torpor, tropism, or trepidation.
So tropism sounds like, or
I feel like ism would not be the right suffix to put at the end of a word. Because if it's a state of being, I don't know. Trepidation sounds correct-ish. Does anyone have any other guesses?
So which one do you want to choose there, Evan? Torpor, tropism, or trepidation?
Trepidation.
Actually, it's the first one, torpor. Torpor is the right answer. Trepidation is when you're hesitant about doing something. All right, let's go on to your body system questions, these three before we take our first break. Another name for your intestines is this word that sounds just like the last name of America's most famous female gymnast.
Another name for your intestines?
Another name for your intestines sounds just like the last name of America's most famous female gymnast.
well,
So you've got to come up with her name and then think what it is that sounds like her last name that could describe your intestines.
so
Any ideas?
Have you heard of Simone Biles?
Oh,
Simone Biles, she does the four loops in the air. Biles sounds like bowels, B-O-W-E-L-S. I thought you'd get that one. Let's go to 15 points. If you go to a restaurant ever and you see sweetbreads on the menu, don't be fooled. They're not a dessert. Rather, they are serving of what gland found in cows and ourselves that helps fight infections. Are you eating thylacine, thyroid, or thymus glands?
right. I think thyroid is not the right answer. What's the last one?
Thymus. Thymus and thylacine are the other two options, Evan.
I feel like I've heard of thymus somewhere before.
Thymus.
That's it. That's it. Thanks, Donna. The thymus gland is correct. Thylacine was actually the name of the extinct dog-like animal in Australia that they've not seen in many, many years. They called it the Australian tiger. All right, one more question for you in body systems. You know, sometimes waiters act kind of superior. Imagine a waiter looking at you choking and saying, "You won't choke on your food, sir, if you remember to close your epiglottis, your uvula, or your pyloric sphincter." You won't choke on your food if you remember to close your epiglottis, your uvula, or your pyloric sphincter.
All right. Well, your uvula is that little dangly thing at the back of your throat. So I don't really see how you could close that.
Well, shouldn't it be like another word for mouth? Like you have to chew with your mouth closed.
Yeah. So it's either the first or the second, and it's not uvula. The one that starts with an E or the one that starts with a P. I have no idea what it is. I'm gonna guess.
All right, girls, what do you want to help your guy out here? Epiglottis or pyloric sphincter? Say something.
All right.
Evan, pick.
I'm gonna go with the last one, pylorus.
Actually, I was hoping you go the other way. The pyloric sphincter is the opening between your esophagus and your stomach. The epiglottis is that little flap over the top so that the food doesn't go down into your windpipe. That means, Greenbelt, you come to the end of your first round here with 90 points. You still have 9 more questions to go. It is now time to meet our second team vying for the chance to be one of the 2 finalists, Martin Luther King Middle. The team the school that is the reigning middle school champ, I might add. And let's meet the players. Our captain is Martin. Martin, wave to everybody if you would. Nice to have him back. And Kelvin is down there. Kelvin, good to have you with us today. He's looking very happy. And Kevin, you too. Give us a nice wave and a big smile, young man. Thank you. All right. All right. Again, 18 questions. The first 9. 5, a 15, and a 25 in green things, zoo parade, and body systems. Let's start with the green things, ML. Okay, here we go. Green things for 5 points. Gregor Mendel famously crossbred these plants that produce vegetables in pods to come up with his laws of heredity.
We're gonna take a minute to talk about this.
It's pea plants. I know it's pea plants.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
pea plants are,
peas.
peas.
Like 2 peas in a pod. Exactly right. It is the pea plant. For 15 points in green things, one of the most famous lines in literature found in the Arabian Nights is a command to this most eaten of all the seeds in America.
We're gonna take a minute to talk about this. What do you guys think it is?
This most eaten of all the seeds in America.
What seeds do we eat the most? I'd say
There's pomegranate seeds, which is well, he's saying seeds, not nut. So seeds. There's pumpkin.
Go ahead.
I think it's I don't know. Is wheat? I don't know. I think wheat is technically.
I don't know why. From what Arabian Nights, for some reason, I feel like it's pomegranate seeds.
Because you're looking for something exotic
We're
there.
gonna have to go with I think we're gonna have to go with pomegranate. I agree with you, Martin.
Pomegranate seeds.
Okay, I like that guess. Have you ever heard open sesame?
Oh!
The sesame seed on sesame seed buns, on all of those fast food buns. So the sesame seed. You made a good try at. Try the 25-point question in green things. I'm going to need 3 answers here, so listen carefully. Leaf senescence, senescence, the changing of leaf colors in the fall, basically, is triggered by 3 environmental changes. What 3 things happen that cause a leaf to start to change colors?
Okay. I think one is amount of sunlight, because in the winter there's another one probably is temperature change.
Temperature change, amount of sunlight, and
what's the water? Lack of water? No.
No.
Maybe it's humidity or air pressure.
Humidity.
I really don't know, because we know the first.
There's sunlight, temperature change.
What else happens in the winter?
The days are shorter. the days are shorter, but that's
No,
determined by
that's
the
just
sun.
that's just with us. That's just with us. The time is always normal for other people. I
It
think
might be
it's
humidity.
I think the third one will
Humidity?
be I think the third one will be weather. I don't
I
know.
think maybe weather or humidity.
Be more
Kev,
specific.
weather.
Be more specific, please.
With humidity or weather.
I think it's humidity. I think it's humidity.
Humidity,
Correct answer there,
moisture.
guys. You came so
Moisture.
close. All right. What is going to be your answer there?
Moisture, sunlight. Okay. The amount of
Moisture,
sunlight.
sunlight, and temperature.
Moisture,
Sunlight and temperature.
moisture, sunlight, and temperature.
We're going to give that to you. We're going to give that to you. Precipitation is going to be moisture, and then temperature and light also were the ones that we wanted. All right. Took you guys a while to get there, but I'm proud of you. All right, let's go on to the zoo. For 5 points, a Native American baby is often carried in a papoose, while a baby butterfly exists as one of these sound-alike metamorphic stages inside a chrysalis.
We're gonna take a minute to talk about this. I think it's
pupa.
Yeah.
Pupa, because it was
No, when caterpillars go into the chrysalis, yeah, they're
pupa. It's pupa.
It is pupa. It sounds like papoose, exactly. Let's go to the 15-point question in the zoo. You talk about an animal with a name that says you want nothing to do with it. It's this deadly cartilaginous fish named for a striped predator in India.
We're gonna take a minute to talk about this. I think it's the tigerfish. I honestly think it's the tiger. I think it might be
feel
the
like it was
tigerfish.
a piranha, a tigerfish. I feel like it's a piranha because
But he said it was a name that would make you not want to mess with it. And I think the name tigerfish, as well as it also has stripes, as well as they're also in India.
there's something called a tiger shark. You think I'm really thinking piranha.
He said a fish. I mean, yes, tiger sharks are a fish technically, but I think he would be more on the dot. Kevin, what are you thinking? Do you think tiger shark or fish or what?
Kevin, weigh in because I'm going to need an answer.
Fish. All right.
You think it's tiger fish?
Tiger fish. The correct answer there was tiger shark. Tiger shark, which you had floated as a possibility. Let's go to the 25-point question, and it is a visual, gentlemen. We're going to show you a group of rare Przewalski's horses. One of them was recently born to a domestic horse after the female's egg had its nucleus removed and a stallion cell frozen years ago was the nucleus's replacement, meaning that the new baby horse, the new foal, just like that long ago sheep Dolly, which was a perfect copy of its mother, is a what?
Clone?
Yes.
Clone. Yeah.
It is a clone. Absolutely right. Good. Body systems for 5 points. Gentlemen, if you promise to keep a secret, you might say that these body parts are sealed.
Lips. Final
That's
answer,
it.
lips.
My lips are sealed. Exactly right. For 15 points. If someone breaks his back, paralysis is possible if this nerve-filled structure is damaged.
It's the spine, right?
Yeah. Spine. Because if you break your spine, you get paralyzed.
You get paralyzed. Your spine.
Give me a little more.
Your
spinal cord.
Spinal cord. That's what I want. Spinal cord is right. For 25 points. While cracking your knuckles can have minor side effects, it does not, as many people believe, lead to this A-initialed condition characterized by stiffened joints.
Arthritis.
It is arthritis indeed. Excellent. All right, MLK, that means you end this first round with 155 points. Very well done. We'll see you again in a few moments. All right, let's meet the team from Greenbelt. They have been playing here a few times already, distinguished themselves and doing a fine job today as well. And Evan, I know you're cold over there. You got that hood on. I know your house is very cold. Sometimes it's good because it keeps you on your toes. Does it make you want to study more or study less?
Well, it doesn't make me want to study more. That's a fact. It kind of makes me go to sleep.
Let me ask you how you've been getting through the pandemic here, because you've been looking at laptop screens like this one and being on Zoom for so much. Is it working for you?
I mean, yeah, it's okay. I don't know. Our classes are shorter, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah, well, you're a good student. You're a good student, and I'm sure you're very adaptable, and you're proving that here today. You're a really good captain. Let's talk to Alexis. Alexis is, she shared with us before that she's been watching Science Bowl a lot, and she finally got a chance to play on the Science Bowl. So what's the experience like? Is it what you imagine? I wish you were here in the studio. That is the real experience, but I'm glad you're getting to do this.
I feel like it is what I expected it to be. There is a lot of conversation and a lot of meetings that we have to discuss.
And competition is always good. Kind of keeps you on your toes. And here you are, you've made it to the pinnacle, as it were, of the Science Bowl, here vying for a chance to take home a county championship. And you're part of it. So I know you're proud of that. And we're proud of you. Let's talk to Donna. Donna, nice to have you with us today. And you're still thinking about what you might want to do in the future. You told us before. What do you like to do in your spare time? Because it seems like we all have a lot of spare time now.
I like to draw, and I also code sometimes.
Yeah, coding is big. Go ahead. You wanted to tell me something else.
I've been trying to learn how to animate. Like, I've been looking for ways to animate and stuff, make videos.
Yeah, animation is just amazing. And, you know, if you're a big fan of Pixar and Disney and all those animated movies, they take years and years to make. So maybe be part of something like that someday. Good to have you with us today. All right, Greenbelt, let's get you up here on a big view and give you your last 9 questions. We're going to start with, let's get physical. If you're ready, let's go. You know, if you can't go any higher in your job, the restriction is often likened to a ceiling made of this substance, a transparent solid that can easily shatter.
Glass.
Glass, the glass ceiling. You can't get any higher. You're being held down. Thanks, Evan. For 15 points. This is very interesting. A town in Quebec, Canada, named for this A-initialed fire retardant mineral, has just changed its name. Since the mineral, which is used in homes and schools, it was for years, is now known to cause cancer if its fibers are inhaled. So, what is the name of that A-initial town?
Asbestos.
Asbestos is right. Yeah, being from Asbestos, Quebec is not the best address anymore. Good answer, young man. For 25 points, a multiple choice. If you're a cook, if you decide you want to make lemon curd for dessert, if you try to mix together the lemon juice and the butter, like oil and water, they don't mix. But when you add egg yolks, they form a smooth mixture. Since the egg yolks are emulsifiers, dehydrators, or acidifiers.
Emulsifiers.
Yes, I think you had a question like that before. All right, you ran the category, Evan. Emulsifiers for 25 points. Got it. Super job. Science potpourri, 5 points. Animals often appear in our language. False clues are known as red herrings. Projects that never work out are known as white elephants. And when we want to blame someone else, when things go wrong, we call them what?
I want to say scapegoats, but I don't know.
Scapegoats is right. Thank you, Evan. For 15 points. Since the Washington football team's quarterback, Alex Smith, suffered that horrible leg injury a few years ago, he has something called foot drop. His foot just hangs there. He has to wear a special boot. That's because what T-initialed bone in his foot suffered nerve damage.
I think it's
T-initialed bone in the foot.
Donna?
Donna, you had an idea?
I thought it was the leg, but
Not the leg. Yeah, you're thinking of his injury itself. Yeah, he broke both of those lower leg bones. We're looking for a T-initial bone in the foot. Alexis, any ideas on this one?
I have a few bones that come to mind, like the tibia, but I'm not sure if it's in the leg.
Yeah, tibia is certainly in the leg.
Yeah.
Evan, anything pop into your head?
I have no idea, so let's just say tibia.
Yeah.
No, let's say toe. Let's say toe.
Oh,
Toe
wait.
is not.
Actually, go ahead.
Is it toe?
Not
I don't
toe.
know.
It's not toe. Alexis thought we go for broke. There's no, you don't know if you don't try. It's called the tarsal bone, like the metatarsals in the foot and the metacarpals up there in the hand. All right, let's do one more potpourri question for you. The top chicken on the farm, indeed the top animal in most populations, is determined by ritual fighting, something that among chickens is called this order.
Order?
O-R-D-E-R, like they're ordering up the strongest animals in the populations, the strongest to the weakest. That order is known as what order? Especially comes from what chickens do.
Okay.
Cluck.
Clock order.
What else do they do?
They wobble, they flap.
They're good to eat. It's called the pecking order. Called the pecking order. Let's go to Dateline for 5 points. Turns out that Abraham Lincoln actually contracted this horrible, scarring disease that has, thankfully, been wiped out around the world by vaccination. Abraham Lincoln recovered from that. Name the disease for 5 points.
I think it's smallpox.
You got it, Donna. It is smallpox. Perfect. For 15 points, 4 of Jupiter's moons were discovered by this famous Italian who saw them through a telescope he invented.
I think it's Galileo.
It is Galileo. It is Galileo. I have a visual question for you in Dateline for 25 points. A visual question. Recently, they sent a rocket into space carrying a Firefly experiment designed by second graders, and they named the rocket New Shepard, a name that honors this man, Alan Shepard. What is his claim to fame?
Well, we know he's an astronaut. So probably the first person to do something in space. First, anyone?
Help the guy out.
I am not really sure.
Was he the guy who dressed up in that gorilla costume and chased people around the space station? I have no idea what it is, so I'm just gonna guess that.
Well, you had it right at the beginning there. You were looking too hard, Evan. He was the first American to go into space. The first American to go into space. He didn't orbit the Earth. The first one to do that was John Glenn, but he went up and he came back and he became a national hero. That means, Greenbelt, you end the game with 160 points. We'll add that to your tally from last time to let you know in a few moments if you'll be back as a finalist. Good work, everybody. Good work. All right, it's now time to meet and talk to the team from Martin Luther King, and they've been doing very well so far. Before we ask their last 9 questions, let's talk to our players. And Martin, let's talk to you first. And you have shared with me a number of times that you'd like to be an engineer because you're a problem solver. And I like how your mind works. You're demonstrating that here. Tell me what you do in your spare time during this pandemic.
I don't really get to do that much because we get out of school at 4:20, so I like to go outside because I've also mentioned I like to hike the Appalachian Trail, but because we end at 4:20, I can't really get outside as much.
I know.
I'm normally on my computer doing things. I do a Lego robotics club actually. So I work on that sometimes in my spare time.
Thanks for sharing that with us. And yes, now with the loss of daylight saving, it's getting dark about 4:30, 4:45. So yeah, it puts a damper on outdoor activities, but I hope you can get out on the weekends. Always good to have you here, Martin. You're just a terrific, terrific young man. Good player. Let's talk to Kelvin. And Kelvin, nice to have you back with us as well. Young man who used to play at Bond Mill. And I like your signature line. We need to talk about this. We need to talk about this. It is perfect, because you're pulling everybody in. You're a leader. And you also are interested in engineering, aren't you?
Yeah, I want to become an electrical engineer and design video game software and invent things. So yeah, and I'm happy to be on the Science Bowl.
Well, thank you. And we love having you here. And there is no doubt in my mind that whatever you set your mind to, you're going to succeed at, because you've got the right personality and the drive to do it. Let's talk to Kevin. You're welcome. Kevin, nice to have you with us as always. Kevin, you walk softly, but you carry a big stick. That's what Teddy Roosevelt once said. You don't say very much, but when you do say something, you really know your stuff. How do you know so much science?
I'm not sure. I mean, I pay attention in class. I don't.
pretty
It's not like I'm
obvious.
doing anything.
I think you're just a good student all the time. You're a good student. You're always listening
Yeah.
and observing things. And just because you're not verbalizing it all the time doesn't mean you don't know it, because you really know your stuff, Kevin. All right, let's get back to your 9 questions here and take you into the end of our game here, the last of the round robin semifinals. All right, guys, here we go. Let's get physical for 5 points. If you're ready, we're ready. The Incredible Hulk hulked up after being exposed to these kinds of rays that also named the 3rd letter in the Greek alphabet.
Gamma.
Gamma is right. You were right on that one, Calvin. Yes, indeed. Okay, for 15 points. This gas, still used as an anesthetic to put people to sleep during surgery, is also the way of connecting computers in a local area network.
I think we're gonna take a second to talk about this. I think it's Wi-Fi, maybe.
Wi-Fi isn't a gas.
Wait,
Kevin, what you say?
what did you
I think.
say, Kevin?
Wait, no, Kevin. What did you say?
Kevin,
Wi-Fi isn't a gas.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
But saying that it's used as an anesthetic and also connects was it servers or computers?
Computers in a local network, yes.
Okay.
Servers. That would be a server, I think, but what could be server. I can only think of server when
You're going down the wrong roads here, guys. Ether is the right answer. Like
I was
Ethernet
gonna say
cables.
Ethernet. Dang it.
Yes, Ethernet, and ether is that gas. Let's go on to the 25-pointer in Let's Get Physical. Pyrotechnics, the science behind fireworks, is this kind of chemical reaction because it releases heat along with light and smoke and gas and sound.
We're gonna take a second to talk
Exothermic.
about this. Yeah, because it releases. It's
Yeah.
exothermic.
Exothermic. Because
It is
releases.
exothermic, indeed. Good answer. Let's go on to potpourri for 5 points. When enough people have been immunized in a population, it is said that this kind of immunity occurs. It has the same name as a group of cows or horses.
Herd.
Herd.
Herd immunity. Oh, yes, I heard that 3 times, guys. You all knew it. For 15 points. The most often sprained joint in your body is this one, and if you have done it once, doctors say chances are you're going to sprain it a number of times in the future.
We're gonna take a second to talk about this. I think it's either your wrist or your ankle.
Well, I think he said joint sprain. I think it's your knee. Or think about it, your knee.
I think
I've heard
it's
you
your
can
wrist.
sprain your knee a lot, or
Yeah, but I think it's your
wait,
wrist
ankle?
because you use your hands every
Sprain.
single day.
I guess actually that's true because you can sprain your wrist, and that is a joint. That's where you can move it. So, I think wrist makes sense.
Yeah, Kevin, what are you thinking?
Kevin, do you agree?
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Well,
We're
he said
gonna.
a joint.
I guess we're gonna. I think it's wrist.
All right.
Where-
You guys were close. You guys were close. It is the ankle. I heard you mention ankle at one point. Sprained ankle is the number 1. Let's go to the 25-point question. It's a multiple choice, gentlemen. Is a neonate, spelled Neonate, is a neonate a senior citizen, a newborn baby, or a teenager approaching puberty?
I think it's a. Oh, we're gonna take a second to talk about this. I think it's a neonate because neo means
Neonate.
new, but
I think
I-
neo
but
means new, but Nate.
Neo means new, but I think what would classify as new is the baby. So
Yeah.
Martin, I guess we're just giving
Neonate. You said.
I think it's a baby.
So babies.
Yeah.
Are we going with the baby, the new baby?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
That is correct. Yes, N-A-T-E is in natal, which refers to birth. So you got yourself 25 points. Just 3 more, guys. Hang with me. You work hard. I've got a visual for you for Dateline for 5 points. You might have read about this. This is truly amazing. You talk about Hercules being strong. This diabolical ironclad beetle, which can be run over by a car and not be harmed in any way, is so tough because of the unique arrangement of this outer covering that is found on all arthropods.
I'm going to take a second to talk about this. I think it's an exoskeleton.
Yeah, exoskeleton.
Because they're found on every single arthropod.
Exoskeleton.
Exoskeleton, absolutely. Thank you for taking charge there. Kelvin, indeed. For 15 points, NASA's OSIRIS-REx spacecraft recently was able to scoop up some sample rock from Bennu, one of these heavenly bodies that orbits between Mars and Jupiter.
Asteroid, Kevin.
Yeah.
Because
I think it is an asteroid.
It is an asteroid, yes. And if you read, it succeeded too well. It took so much soil that they couldn't close the door behind it, the trap. Last question of the game for you, gentlemen. The so-called Kármán line, K-A-R-M-A-N, marks the boundary between our atmosphere and outer space. It is 62 miles up at the edge of what E-initialed layer of the atmosphere.
We're going to take a second to talk about this.
It's the exosphere. The exosphere. Exo means
because it's the outer. Yeah. All right.
Exosphere.
It is exosphere for 25 points. You got it. I like that group effort there. That means, MLK, you end the game with 260 points. Terrific game today, the third and final of our semifinal matches with Greenbelt, Robert Goddard, and MLK. The 2 top scorers are going to be moving on to play for the county championship. Today's score, Greenbelt had 160 points. Martin Luther King had 260. That means Martin Luther King's total for the past 2 games is 565. Greenbelt's is 420. And Goddard is 575, which means Robert Goddard and Martin Luther King, you will be playing for the county championship. And before we leave, nice round of applause for that Greenbelt team. A terrific 3rd place finish here today. Our bronze medalists, silver and gold, go to Martin Luther King and to Goddard. And we will see all of you, we hope, for the championship match. I'm Dave Zarin. Until then, bye-bye, everyone.